I just want to thank Danielle Smith and her team for allowing me to speak because I think they could have cut me off because I did go on pretty long. Um, so I know that we don't agree, but at least she did let me speak because I've been really wanting to say this for so long, and I attended other online forums with them to try to get this out, and finally they did let me speak. Maybe they realized I was really I was really wanting to get this out, so I really appreciate all the team there for letting me speak. And yeah, enjoy. Oh, and the guy you're about to hear tries to interrupt the guy that is speaking currently, and I'm behind him. So he also interrupts me halfway through my speech, and then as I'm leaving and kind of like about to listen to Danielle Smith, he calls me a racist. And yeah, the lady who says, "You are rude," she is talking about that man, not about me. And she gave me like massive props after the speech as well. Oh, and after reviewing this, I find it ironic that this guy's the one who calls me racist, but I'm defending the guy in front of me that clearly, I wasn't born in Canada, and I'm letting him speak. But this guy's like trying to, like he's trying to get him to stop speaking, and then he tries to get me to stop speaking, and he calls me racist. So it's just so funny. Anyways, enjoy.
$100 tax.
We got it lined up.
Metric ton is $400 million.
Hi, my name is Darian George, and I'm a plumber. I'm going to put a damper on the room here. Have you been to a mall recently? Because it doesn't look like the majority of the people in this room. If the people in this room are the people who care about the future of Canada, why does the malls look so different? What happens when our aging population go to heaven? Who will be left over? I will look like a foreigner in my own country. What happens when we aren't in charge anymore and they start making women second-class citizens? What happens then? Now I'm disappointed to see Danielle Smith cater to foreigners who have not integrated into Canada. If they consider themselves Sikh, Hindu, Muslim, and so on, that's not Canadian. I consider myself a Canadian, not a European Canadian, not a Christian Canadian, a Canadian. You said the Sikhs have history in Alberta because before it was founded in 1905. There are more people in this room today compared to how many Sikhs there were in all of Canada in 1900.
Buddy,
Lastly,
no, it's 3 paragraphs long. There's a lineup.
You're being so rude.
Lastly,
Yes, you are.
Lastly, I have to add that the foreigners have all brought their ethnic feuds to our lands. They build their own temples for their own cultures, which is not Canadian. They target girls for being white like those Somali girls did in Edmonton a few weeks ago. On the van full of East Indian men that tried to kidnap a couple white girls last month. I now see lots of East Indians calling for violence upon our people. They have not integrated. They're here to replace us. Stop catering to foreign cultures. What will you do to protect our culture and people? Become Canadian or go home. Canada must send millions home. Remigration now.
Is that just a tirade from a racist?
Canada thrives is because we believe in religious freedom. And you have to
Yeah.
remember, some of the historic hatreds that we have in our country came because Catholics and Protestants hated each other. It's part of the reason our Constitution was founded that way. So you know what, if you're Protestant, you have a right to exist. If you're Catholic, you have a right to exist. Part of the reason we have a large Mormon population, LDS here, is because they found safe haven in southern Alberta. We have virtually every Christian denomination you can imagine, and they haven't always gotten along with each other. But, and so I take that same view on every other religion. Come here, live peaceably, and integrate, of course. Be Alberta first, be Canadian first. But you can still celebrate your faith. You don't have to adopt the faith of somebody else to be welcome here, but you just have to make sure that you're practicing your cultural practices in a way that are consistent with our expectations here. And I disagree with you. I think you overstated it. There are a handful, a small percentage of people who come here and don't integrate. There's a small percentage of people who carry the hatreds from their home country, and you're right, it is up to us to say you have to adopt the Canadian ways and the Alberta ways and the Canadian values, and we're going to keep on working on that. But it is also part of the reason why we take the approach of having an economic migrant first. Think of what happens. What that means is that somebody comes into a job environment knowing that we value their skills, and then they're surrounded in a workplace with people who can help tell them and explain to them and befriend them and show them what the Canadian way is. And then if they are a good fit, then they can move on to permanent residency and then move on to citizenship. That's why it all starts with a good paying job and making sure that we have that social support around somebody. And I think that that's what happened with the federal government in the last 5 years. They took all of the restrictions off all of the programs, did no vetting, and then people arrived here without having the expectations of what it means to be a Canadian citizen. So that's why we've got to take it back. We've got to go back to reasonable numbers of migration. We've got to put economic migrants first, and we've got to make sure that people are supported on their journey to becoming citizens. There's some correction work that needs to be done after the past 5 years, no doubt about it. But I can tell you we are far better off than what I'm seeing in other parts of North America. Far better off than what I'm seeing in the UK. Far better off even than what I'm seeing in Toronto and Montreal with some of the divisions that are happening in their community. So I think we got to just keep working on it. And so I suspect we might have different views on that, but I think that we're going to continue to be a place where people want to come to, where people want to be able to have the freedom to exercise and the freedom to be able to earn a living, to be able to take care of their families. And we've got to make sure that we maintain that openness.
So yeah, let me know what you think. I did stumble a bit at the end. Like, I was insanely nervous. I'm not used to doing that type of thing, but I did at least get it all out, and I think I made my point pretty clear. And I knew Danielle Smith would respond that way. I didn't expect her to be like, "Yeah, you're right. Actually, we should just send a bunch of people home tomorrow." But at least I got in people's heads, and a few more people know about remigration. So there we go. Thanks for watching, and long live Canada.